reason that I would throw a forehand roller as opposed to a thumb roller would be if I want to throw the disc in the air longer. I would throw a forehand roller. If I got to get the disc down pretty quick, then I'm going to throw a thumb roller. And for those who don't know anything about a thumb roller, get out your Condor. I'm sure everybody's got their Condor on. A Condor is probably the best get-out-of-trouble disc ever made. And on top of that, it weighs 200 grams. So, I mean, if it's rolling and there's squirrels or chipmunks or what, it just rolls right over them. There's no logs, whatever. I've actually jumped off of roots and gone into a basket on thumb rollers before. But a thumb roller, I grip it with my thumb and the disc in the main two fingers that's doing anything, or my middle finger and my ring finger. I'm squeezing that on the outside. I don't actually have my heel of my hand or the side of my hand touching the bottom. It's just off of the bottom, so I'm really kind of choking down on the rim. It's a lot like using a hammer. If you're hammering something on the wall and say you got it at this angle, that's the motion. I mean, you got to have that little bit of snap to create the spin and the energy. Now, depending on how much you want the disc to turn left. I mean, this is a counterclockwise spin, so when it stands up, it's going to turn left. The more you want it to turn left, the straighter up and down you want it. But if you do it straight up and down, you can't throw it very hard because the energy is going to make it really turn left. So for more times than not, if you're trying to get much distance, you want the disc to be about like this coming out of your hand. So it hits the ground about like this. There you go. Now Scott didn't put a whole lot of energy on it, so it never really turned over, and that's why it went to the right, and that would have been called a mini cut roller. If you're throwing a disc that hits the ground this way and you want it to go that way, that's a cut roller. You can do that with either the backhand or the thumb roller. Well, they sure picked a while.
They'll be going slow by the time it's up there.
Yeah. But if I just had a little pathway right in line with the sign up there, and then I want to finish that way. Yeah.
Oh, your brain is so focused on the dash.
Heat.
For those of you who don't have a Condor handy, a rock works pretty good, or any other manufacturer's disc that's like a rock. Now, I prefer heavier weights for rolling because they're less affected by obstacles on the ground. And you're always going to find obstacles on the ground. If there's too many, don't even try the roller unless you have nothing else. That's a brand new light rock.
And that's a gorgeous line because that's exactly where he's trying to go.
But it's a pretty, and putters will work as well, but they just don't go as far because of the depth of the rim.
Take out an angle.
Oh, thank you.
Is there an angle, a vertical on the disc? This being the disc?
What's that now? Yeah, that's what I was saying. The more you want it to turn left, the straighter up and down you want it to be.
Okay.
To
So,
keep it
now, we were talking about a cut roller with the same thing. I'm going to throw one on the other side of the tree and try to make it hook over to Scott. And that one, you want to throw more of a half flight. So you want it to hit the ground about like this, so it will curve that way.
Oh. Yes, sir. Wow.
I bet everybody goes on eBay and looks for a Condor. Uncondor is a little bit wider, a little rounder, so I mean it absorbs the angle a whole lot better. Where's Daniel? Is he back?
Right here. Okay.
Why don't you throw a few sidearm rollers and see the difference? I mean, the difference being you would want to throw it in the air longer is what I was telling him before it hits the ground for the sidearm roller.
Yeah, what I like to do with the sidearm roller, I like the more overstable the disc, the better. You know, you choose it, Firebird, Predator, whatever, Max, you know, whatever your fancy is. And what I like to do is really depending on the angle, say I'll aim for that tree up there. I'll probably hit it at maybe, I don't know, 60-degree angle, something like that. Release it like that. So when it hits, it's going to stand up, because the more overstable the driver, the more it's, you want to keep it more over like this, so that you can get more distance with it, depending on what you're going for. Again, if you want it to turn hard or left sooner, go straight, more vertical.
Some physics behind it. Your disc is spinning.
Back just a little bit.
Your disc is spinning this way, so it's going to naturally pull itself over.
Yeah.
Eventually.
But drivers being more overstable anyway, you almost have to stand them straighter up, or they're going to be a cut roller every time,
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
where you're going to lose all your distance.
So I'll do a couple of forehand rollers. Remember, this is a very overstable disc. You know, if I throw it out, you know, backhand is going to go hard left.
So those are the two basic opposite spin counterclockwise rollers. Now when you get to a backhand roller, more people than not, especially when they first start, are going to want to throw something pretty understable, like a Stingray, Cobra type of thing, or Sidewinder, Roadrunner, that type of disc. And it's the same principle. I mean, the harder you throw it, the more you have to throw it like a flight. The easier you throw it, you stand it straighter up and down. Now, I would do that I would throw a backhand roller on shots of like maybe 250 feet or farther. And when you're throwing a backhand roller, you don't want to run straight down the tee. Like if I'm going to be throwing that way and the tee is right here, I want to be off to the side of the tee going at an angle, so when I get to the front, then I've got the angle that I want. If I'm trying to throw it straight on the tee, then it pulls it to the right.
And the backhand roller is the furthest shot in disc golf.
By far the most powerful shot in disc golf. The world record distance in the air is 820 feet. The world record backhand roller is 2,400 feet. Whoa. So yeah, I mean there's a little bit of difference.
Grass is cut, right?
Yeah. That was a basic backhand roller there. When you release it, you want it to be at about a 45-degree angle. Now, when you get to the, let's see here, then there's an in-between distance that's called a Scooby roller. And you hold it just like you're going to hold a backhand roller, only you want to pull it up over your shoulder and you're throwing it out in front of you. It's almost like a yo-yo when you're throwing a yo-yo in front of you. But you don't want to stand it straight up and down because the torque will make it go immediate right. So for a Scooby roller, you want to kind of drop your left shoulder and that's kind of your mid-range backhand roller. When you don't have room to get all of this in it. I mean, you're in a tight spot, you just do that.